Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and I wanted to give you an update on a few satellite journals that I have. A while ago I made a video on my whole stack of satellite journals, and these are journals that are not really like daily planners, but things that I use whenever I'm in a certain mood or something's going on that's like a specific thing that I want to keep separate from my daily stuff. And I wanted to talk about three of them in particular because I use these three as kind of like a mental health thing. Like normally people would suggest that you journal for your mental health anyway, but I'm like not really somebody who tends to write much about feelings in my daily stuff. So I usually journal about stuff that's happened during the day and maybe what I expect will happen next or something along those lines, but not necessarily how things make me feel. What I do often have is story ideas, and I first wanted to write down the story ideas, and then I thought, wait a second, a lot of times story ideas that you have that keep recurring have certain themes in it. So what I thought I would do is take the story ideas, put them in one particular book, and then put another like analysis of sorts in the other book. So I have two for that. So we're going to start with those two, and then another one underneath that has a funny story attached to it. But let's first take a look at these guys. Yes, these are indeed two hobonichi covers. I think one of them is a stalogy. Maybe both of them are stalogies. Let me take a look actually what we have in here. This is a stalogy for sure. And this is the ideas one. So for instance, I wrote a story idea about a governor of an island, and this would be in an age of like the 1800s or something like that type of time setting, where he had colonies of different countries that would have to produce things in order to satisfy some type of decree, a royal decree or whatever. And so the idea of this story was that a governor of a particular island sees that the amount that they're supposed to produce every month has to go up by about 50% of what they are normally able to produce, and he's like, well, I can't really do that because I don't have the manpower for it. But if we don't produce all that, then we're going to have some trouble with the crown and that sort of thing. And then what they do is they pretend that there's like been this terrible illness that's gone across the island that killed a whole bunch of people, and now, lo and behold, the new amount of people that they have just so happens to be the amount of people required to produce a certain amount of produce that they then get to send off, and that makes it okay, I guess, like the right amount is produced. But of course, the amount of people on the island hasn't died at all, but it's kind of like trying to get away from having to work people to the bone and just have people work normally while avoiding any sort of negative consequences basically from the ground, like that type of thing, like avoiding consequences by having some smart idea. So I wrote that really quickly in here. This is not a full story. It's more like if I ever were to write a book about it, then this would be kind of like the backstory type of thing. So I have a couple of stories like that in here, not too many because I haven't done too many recently. There are some more stories that I could put in here, and that I will add eventually. There's still plenty of space here because it's one of those stalogy 365 ones, so there's a day per page, but it's not a day-to-day thing, but I have plenty of space is what I'm trying to say. And so I have the story ideas in here. And then over here on this one, which I do think is a techo, hobonichi techo. Or are they both stalogies? No, this is a hobonichi. I can see it by the side here. There you go. This is a really lovely cover. I really like this one. I have this one on A5 as well for a different one. But okay, so in this one, I take that story idea, and I think I started here in this little week section that I'm not currently using anyway for anything else. And then I'm just kind of like going through what the story is, kind of like showing ways of themes. So over here, I wrote, based on that story, this story sounds like I'm feeling like people demand things from me that I find to be unreasonable, and in this story idea, the method for dealing with these demands is to adjust the expectations through trickery. That's basically what I just said. Maybe I mentioned it in the idea, but the outcome was supposed to be that people from the future would look back on it and admire the plan. So that's also part of the story. I didn't quite write that in there. I think I may have mentioned it quickly, like one sentence, but it doesn't really like reflect it too much. Thinking of the governor as a hero of some sort who changed history in a unique manner or something like that. So that's kind of like the idea behind it, so to speak. And then I say maybe I'm looking for admiration and a legacy. I don't have kids nor family, so my only way to leave a legacy would be to do something that really leaves a mark. And then I say I'm far from being a governor or someone in power, so not sure how to achieve this. This story idea thus seems like a wish to become more impressive. So that's kind of like my analysis of my story idea. This was kind of like on the surface, but I'm pretty sure if I dug a little deeper I could go into more themes and stuff like that. And then the idea behind doing this is to identify these things for myself and to try to figure out, is this a problem, first of all, because sometimes it doesn't have to be an issue, just something that happens. And if it is a problem, how could I work on fixing that or mitigate things or something like that, make things better for myself and that sort of thing. So then I could probably put that in here as well, like plans to deal with perhaps, for instance, like wanting to leave a legacy. How would I go about doing that, like that type of thing. So that is something that I'm doing in here that I thought was kind of fun to share, and maybe it's something that you could also do for yourself if you were looking for an alternative way of doing some mental health journaling or something like that. Not that I particularly feel like I have super mental health issues or anything like that. I think I'm fairly well adjusted, at least that's from my own perspective. But you know, we can always like dig a little deeper to see what's going on, because maybe there's something going on that you're just not aware of. Like for many years I thought I was perfectly fine, but then I started to notice that people treated me a little differently from other people, and then eventually I ended up thinking like, hey, maybe there's something, like maybe I'm on the spectrum or something, and so I had to dig into that. But by doing stuff like this, I can at least identify themes and then go ahead and work on that to try and figure out what I can do with them. So this is a nice little set of A6 notebooks or planners. I guess it is a planner, but I'm not using it as a planner. I'm just going to keep going, and regardless of what type of page I encounter, like now I'm writing it in vertical columns because these happen to be vertical columns, and we also have this section over here, and then I'm probably just going to continue to work in vertical columns. But then I have vertical columns with sections, I don't know. So I'm not really using this as a traditional TED show, but I'm just using it because I really, really like the paper, which is basically the only reason why I'm buying anything hobonichi, like book-wise, just to have the paper. That's basically it, because I was looking, this is like a little tangent here, but I really like the Tomoe River paper. I like the thin paper, and I was like, I need to find the best deal out there, and I went looking at all these different other types of Tomoe River paper booklets that you can find, and I found that for the amount that you get, the cousin probably has the most for the best price, at least the ones that I'm able to get. Maybe the prices are different where you're at. And it also really depends on where you're looking, because the Dutch version of Amazon has really, really expensive cousins, but there is another website, I think japanstore.nl or something, where they sell them for much better prices. But if you go to Amazon and you look for second-hand options, then they're usually half price, so we need to really like figure it out. But in any case, I figured out that the cousins were the best value for my money, so I went and ordered some cousins to write more stuff in. I have a bunch extra sitting there as well. And the only real danger with ordering cousins is that I also want to give them a cover, like a cover and cover and that type of thing, but I'm just going to resist that for now. And use these little ones as well, because I like the A6 size for this type of small journaling stuff as well. So that's what these two are, the little paired booklets over here. I got a stalogy instead of a cousin for this, or a original techo, because I wanted to try out the stalogy. I do like the stalogy, but the paper is not quite as good. But okay, that's something for another day. That's these two. Now this one I flipped over because this is a letter cover that I had custom branded, so they have like a certain stamp on the other side that you could customize. And the reason why I did that was because I had dinner with a bunch of people from work, and during that dinner the subject of tattoos came up, and somebody was like, yeah, I had a tattoo put on my arm or on my shoulder, I think it was, and at the time I didn't know what it was. And then somebody over there was like, hey, no regrets. And it's like, yes, no regrets. That's what I'm going to have. And then I'm sitting here at the table thinking, well, I don't think there's anybody with no regrets, because I'm pretty sure there are, like, there's probably things you've accepted, but I wouldn't say no regrets. Nobody's out there with no regrets, I don't think. At least I don't believe that there are. So that's my own philosophy. So I was like, you know, there's always some regrets. So I had this one made. And this booklet, aside from the lovely branch thing, I put this on there myself. They had a whole bunch of graphics that you could choose from, so I wrote some regrets in a little editor on the website, and then it's like, what can I put on there? And there was a clipboard, and I saw this thing. It's like, oh, that actually looks kind of nice and aesthetic. So this is the cover that I had them make. This was their own idea to put it like this. And in here I have a, oh, well, so this thing, forgot about you. You're in here. So this is a Tomorrow Paper notebook from Hobonichi, the yellow one, the plain one. And in here I wrote all of these different things. This is basically the story I just told you. These pages are full of memories that I have from the past that aren't quite letting me go. So this is also kind of like a mental health thing, but just to kind of like brain dump old memories. And these are things that happened in my childhood. They may not necessarily be negative, but it's just something that keeps popping up every once in a while. And I don't think that that's going to stop or anything by writing them in here, but what it will do is register it for later in case I ever start to forget things. And then also I'm flipping it upside down every time because I find it more comfortable to write on the right side of the page. I also put that over here. This is a twist notebook. And every other page is upside down, meaning that when I'm done writing here and then I turn the page, I'm like, I'm not going to write here, I'm going to turn it over. And then of course I put this guy underneath, so for a little bit more stability, and then I can just write comfortably on the right because I'm right-handed, so I thought that would be better for me anyway. So that's what I'm doing with this notebook. So this is like stuff that keeps getting in my thoughts and won't let me go, and then I'm just going to put it in here, and it'll probably also eventually contain more positive things. Currently it's just like things I kind of regret, or things that had a negative impact, or something that's just kind of like, I don't know what to think about that. So that's going to go in here. And then maybe if it's a particularly annoying thought, I could use this booklet again to like dig a little deeper into that and pull some themes out of that as well, so that I can see if there's anything in there in particular that's bothering me that I can deal with in the present. Like, because the past is the past, that's gone and done. And with the present, we can still fix things. So maybe if there's a thought that's like really bothering me, even after I've written it down, I can dig into it here to see what themes are in there, and then also perhaps suggest some course corrections to fix that theme, or make the old thought seem less annoying, or something along those lines. Like, there's stuff in here like when I accidentally wet my pants at school as a 7-year-old, like that type of stuff is in here. So that's like something that was super embarrassing. And actually, about that story real quick, I had a certain outfit on that I really liked up until that day, and then after that day, that outfit was just the outfit I peed myself in, and I never wore it again because I just didn't want to have it on me anymore. Of course it got washed. It's not like it didn't get washed or anything. Don't think weird thoughts. But just like that outfit was linked to the embarrassment, so I didn't want to wear that anymore. Kind of like how I once, as a kid, got a really bad headache after I ate some vanilla ice cream, and in the many years afterwards I would not touch vanilla ice cream because it just reminded me of the headache, like those links. Those types of things I could also like identify and then put in here, so that I know, like, okay, I had a headache, but the vanilla ice cream had nothing to do with it. At least not the fact that it was vanilla ice cream. It's just, I guess, brain freeze or something that went wrong. And therefore, vanilla ice cream is now still safe to eat. It's just like a thing that happened back then. We need to like separate those two things, like that type of thing. So that's what I'm doing in here. That is a really quick rundown of some of my mental health journaling that I'm doing. I thought that would be interesting for you guys to see, and maybe something you could try for yourself as well, because I know that a lot of people have some regrets in their bookcase as well, where there are probably plenty of empty notebooks and planners that they're not sure what to do with, and this is just another one of those ideas, because it's one of those things as well. Eventually I want to make another video on what you can do with your old planners and old notebooks, because I have a ton of them myself as well. I'm also always constantly trying to figure out ways that we could maybe use them for other things that are useful or fun or something. So if I have another list of those, I'll be sure to make another video and put that up here. And that is it for now. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in another video. Thanks for watching, and bye bye for now.